We're not the suits that talk football. We're the dudes that know football. And you've just crossed over into the trend zone. Casey here with Dave. We are the football dudes. Dave, are you ready, bro?
You got that right, my friend. Indeed, I am ready.
Sweet. Next stop, the trend zone. It's Wednesday, September 10th. Coming to you from Los Angeles, California. It's getting a little chilly out there, Dave. The nip of fall is coming through the air. I'm loving it, baby. I almost had to put on a parka today.
Yeah, a little windy over here, a little cool breeze here. 68 right about now, Santa Monica.
All right. In today's episode, we'll talk about a major bum and injury in the Bay Area, maybe another one. We will also talk about
Whew.
Spitgate, put that thing to rest. We have three Super Bowl rematches on the show for you today. Talk a little Survivor and our fantasy go back starts of the week and the rest of the awesome games coming up from week 2. But Dave, you know we cannot take a trip into the trend zone without a tasty nug for the peoples. Tell me you are holding, my friend.
Yes, sir. I will produce the nug. It is this the NFL tweak of the kickoff rule this offseason seems to have done the trick. In week 1, 118 of 156 kickoffs were returned for a 75.6% return rate. That is the highest number or percentage of returns since week 17 of the 2010 season. So it had gotten bad before they tweaked it. Before last year, 2 years ago in 23 season, it had dropped under 22%. They needed to do something to bring back this exciting play, and tweaking it last year made an impact, but it wasn't the desired effect. The thing that happened was moving it from the 30 to the 35 with the touchback really has inspired teams to go ahead and take it out. And that has been just absolutely awesome to see. One of the most exciting plays in football is back in action.
Yeah, and when they made the switch, moving the blockers that much closer and just having the kicker back by himself, they took about a lot of those huge collisions from the guys running all the way downfield. Might have a little room to tweak this thing more, but the kickers are still kind of figuring it out how to drop that thing in. So, but well done on the NFL. They really nailed that one, and we get bringing that play back is a huge part of football. So,
It'll be
yeah,
interesting to
kudos.
see what the average starting position ends up being as we move forward into this compared to what it was last year and then before the dynamic kickoff was introduced.
Well, we'll be taking notes. We'll have it. We'll hit you guys up at the end of the season. Also, want to let you guys know the Trend Zone available for subscription. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, tune in. Dave, I'd take the whole show if I let everybody know where we're at. Just go out there and get the Trend Zone wherever you get your podcast.
Sounds
All
good.
right, Dave. Top trending stories last week. Dallas at Philadelphia. Kind of a weird start to this one.
Yeah, I'll say. Yeah, beginning of the game, the exchange of spits. Dak spits on the turf, and Jalen Carter responds by spitting on Dak's jersey. Outlandish behavior that got him ejected from the game. And ultimately fined $57,222. I guess a game check for that dude. But wow, what a foolish move to start that football game.
Yeah, and how disingenuous a lot of the angles are. They're trying to stir up this thing like Dak spit towards him. When you see the actual side by side, they're about 4 yards apart. But regardless of that, Carter is in the Cowboys huddle. Get the hell out of there, bro. Go with your teammates who are several yards away. You're up to no good there. So the guy's so far been a piece of crap in college and the pros. Obviously a great player, but he needs to get his head in order.
Maybe Dak just needs to work on his accuracy with his spitting.
Oh, yeah. Maybe that will help. That will probably help things. All right. Well, another hated foe of the Dallas Cowboys, the San Francisco 49ers, they got a little bad news.
Yeah, Kittle on IR, and it must be pretty bad because he was, in regular clothes after halftime there, suffering the hamstring there, and we know, having been sports fans and played sports ourselves, that when that hammy sends the message to you, you call it. You've got to take it off, and he's going to be on IR, so that's a minimum of 4 weeks there. But hammies, when they're bad, I would call that more like 6 weeks, and then you're hopeful that you don't aggravate that thing. But yeah, it looks like Kittle will be on the shelf for a little while.
And I guess whose team he's on in someone else's other league.
Oh no!
Yeah,
Oh, tell me
yeah,
about it.
yeah.
Well, you know what, Casey? There's still time early. Pounce on a free agent tight end.
Yeah, I might have to do that because I was expecting some total fantasy domination out of Kittle, but you
Yeah.
know who we did get it from?
Yeah, all the dudes that are on your team that was
Yeah,
playing my team. We'll start with Josh Allen of your Foul Boys and the Bills. They have 394 pass yards, 2 touchdowns passing, 30 rush yards, 2 rushing TDs. What a phenomenal performance! Wow.
oh, and it's such an epic game. And also featured in that game was the Foul Boy starting running back Derrick Henry,
Yeah.
and he had 169 rush yards, 2 rushing TDs, 13 receiving yards, and not to me, but to the Ravens, a very costly fumble. Ugh.
Ooh, no doubt. But how about also in that same matchup, Zay Flowers for the Snivellers there, 8 rushing yards, 143 receiving yards, and a touchdown reception there. Zay Flowers with a really nice game.
And also in that game, because it was 41-40, how about Dalton Kincaid, the tight end for the Bills, 48 receiving yards and a receiving touchdown. Good stuff. All right,
Wow.
Dave. Here's a 180 from the good stuff. It's our fantasy go back starts of the week. If you could go back in time and tell Coach Hewitt to start someone else, could you have made a move, though, to help your team?
No, I could have had a better score though. I could have played Herbert, Keenan Allen, and Travis Etienne for over 62 points. Instead, I played Kyler Murray, uh, uh, Taylor, and Pickens, who got me a 35. The difference of 27.2, but I still would have been blowed out and debacled by the Foul Boys with those crazy numbers that you put up.
Oh, yeah, 141.26 to 80.82. But who's counting, Dave?
Yeah,
Nobody
it's a
counts
pretty
ourselves.
high mark.
Yeah.
It's going to stand for a while, I'm sure. My team's got a future, though, Casey, and I did win in my other league.
There you go. All right. Oh, man. Okay. It is time for Survivor. 3 strikes. We amended the rules. It's not just one and done. We've
Thank
given
God.
everybody 3 chances to live. And last week, oh my God, this pick almost took out 90% of ours guys in our league's first strike, but it didn't.
Yeah, yeah. The most popular correct pick was Denver squeaking by Tennessee, with over 33% of the people out there picking Denver. The most popular incorrect pick last week didn't do much damage. It was Miami over Indianapolis, and just 1.24% of the people out there took that loss there. I don't know what you were thinking there, picking Miami over Indy, but um, hey, people like to gamble, Casey.
Yeah, they like to live dangerously, Dave. And they didn't know that Finkel was Einhorn. All right, give me some of the most popular picks moving into week 2.
Yeah, since it's early, there's a lot of good ones out there. Baltimore over Cleveland has got almost 29% of the people. Dallas over the Giants, nearly 18%. Arizona over Carolina, that's over 13%. San Francisco over New Orleans, 9.5%. And then the Rams to beat Tennessee, that's about 7%. So a lot of good options there. You got to just kind of guide yourself through it. No, don't want to use up all the good teams too early. Take a risk, but not too big of a risk. You can't get burned.
Yeah, I like to stay away from the most popular pick
Yeah.
each week. So we'll see if there's any weird business that happens with those Cleveland Browns. But Dave, it is week 2 in the NFL.
Week 2?
Yeah.
It's slipping away.
Oh my God, we wait
Yeah,
all
it
this
really is
time and
flying
then
by already, isn't
it
it?
goes by so fast.
It's
But
not.
we have an absolute banger for Thursday night football, Dave. Tell the people who we got.
Yeah, it's the Washington Commanders at the Green Bay Packers, and the Packers at home are favored by 3.5 in this one.
Yeah, the Packers have suddenly become everybody's darling to go to the Super Bowl. But I'm going to talk about everybody's preseason darlings to go to the Super Bowl, and that is the Washington Commandos. Got a slow start last week, but really had no problems putting the Giants away. They won that one 21-6, and it was never really in question there.
Yeah.
Jaden Daniels, 19 to 30, 233 yards, and one passing touchdown. Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt, baby. He was kind of moving up the ranks in the preseason after they dished Robinson to the Niners. He had a nice day, over 8 yards a carry and a touchdown there. And the defense was all over Russ last week. So they're going to hopefully do a little bit of that on Jordan Love. And Dave, this is a weird place for me because I have to root against the Green Bay to protect my draft pick, but it's in my blood to root against the Commandos. So I don't know who I'm going to hate more. I just have to wait till this game starts, but I think I'm going to root against the Packers.
Yeah, I got to do it for the future draft picks, Casey. Speaking of those Packers, really a nice performance in week one, really dominating ultimately against the Lions, kind of pulling out and just making it a pretty easy win, really surprisingly, 17-3 at halftime. And they just never really were threatened by this really high-powered Lions team. But Jordan Love, 2 touchdowns, 128 plus quarterback rating. Josh Jacobs didn't really even have to get it going too much. Love did find 10 different receivers to catch the football, though they got a lot of dudes there that are capable. Matthew Golden, the new guy, Savion Williams also in on the action. So this was just an impressive win. And really the defense did such a great job containing the Lions. They didn't give up much at all on the ground to that dynamic duo of running backs there. So pretty good new addition to that defense. We don't want to get too far into that. Micah Parsons edition, but he made his presence felt, and the defense itself did a great job last week. They'll be looking to try and repeat that performance against the Commanders offense that's got a lot of weapons to deal with.
Yeah, I'm just going to go out on a limb and say, though, that Jaden Daniels is a little more mobile than Jared Goff, but Micah played, I think, 29 snaps. Will play much more as the season goes on. So this is potentially an NFC Championship preview. I'll give him that.
Sure. Yeah, for sure.
All right. Up next, it's an AFC East battle. We got the Buffalo Bills at the New York Football Jets, and the Bills are 6.5-point favorites on the road.
Yeah, and what a game, obviously, last week from Josh Allen, our fantasy domination. As we discussed, nearly 400 yards passing, 2 touchdowns passing, 2 touchdowns running. It was just a phenomenal performance. They were down and out, down by 15 points at one point. I don't know, midway through the fourth or something like that.
I think later than 4 minutes left.
It's unbelievable. You just can't count these guys out. And it's going to be a lot for this Jet squad to take care of this Bills offense the way they're playing right now. I mean, it's just one game, but my gosh, they really got it going.
Speaking of offense, the Jets had all kinds of offense against those Pittsburgh Steelers. Justin Fields, I thought, was great in this game. 16-22, 218 and a touchdown, no interceptions. Throw in another 48 rushing yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. But the guy that stole the day was Breece Hall, bro. 19 carries, 107, and just looked fast. He looks like he's back from that knee injury. There was all this talk about moving him in the offseason. You're definitely going to pump the air brakes on that because he looked incredible. And really, the Steelers get that 60-yard field goal to kind of steal that game. Jets played good enough to win it. And the Jets always play the Bills tough. So divisional matchups, anything can happen. This is going to be a fun game.
Yep, no doubt about it. All right, moving along. It is the New England Patriots at the Miami Dolphins. You're going to handle this one, Case.
Yeah, the Patriots lose to the Raiders last week, 20-13, and they looked okay in that thing. But Drake May, dude, throwing 46 times, that's much too much, man. You're asking too much out of that guy. We thought Trevion Henderson would kind of get that run game going. and not much happened with it. So they got to figure that out. The defense was pretty solid, but dude, Dolphins, man, oh my God, it's got all their fans jumping into the tuna nets.
Yeah.
It was
Ugh.
abysmal last week, dude.
Yeah.
33-8, they go down to the Colts, and nothing looked good for
Yeah.
those Dolphins, man. And I know it's week to week, so we have to see what happens here. But dude, if it doesn't get in order sooner than later, you could see them start moving a lot of pieces here and maybe looking for a new head coach.
Oof. Yeah. The mad scientist might be out the door. All right, Casey, what do we got next?
We got a cat battle, Dave. I know you love the cat
Meow.
battles. It's
Meow.
the undefeated Jacksonville Jaguars at the Cincinnati Bengals, also undefeated. The Bengals are 3.5 point favorites.
Yeah, and unfortunately, we didn't get to see a ton of the Jags last week. They went into that weather delay,
That was unfortunate.
and then next thing you know, when we found out they were back on, they had already gotten themselves a nice lead. I think it was 20-6 or something by the time it came back. When we just missed a little action, and in that time, Trevor Lawrence, I guess, put together a couple of nice drives. This was a battle of the Etienne brothers, but won by the elder Travis there. But all said and done, this Jaguars team under the new coach there, Liam Combs, they've got a lot of excitement building here, and I think this was a game against the Panthers that both teams were very hopeful going into it, and the Jaguars were able to come out with the W. So impressive start for them.
And the Bengals played their starters a lot in preseason, tried to get over that slow start hump, and they were lucky to get that win against Cleveland 17-16. The late kick missed by Cleveland. Flacco had a couple unfortunate interceptions there that weren't really his fault. But, dude, when was the last time Joe Shiesty had 113 passing yards in a game, man? There was
Wow.
just not a lot going there. Chase Brown averaging 2 yards a rush last week. So the preseason wasn't the answer. They did get by. They did get the win. So that's all that really matters. But I don't expect that Bengals defense to be that ice cold moving forward.
All right, up next, it is the New York Giants at your Dallas Cowboys. Casey, Cowboys at home are favored by 5.5.
Yeah, and Dangerous was anything but against those Commandos. Couldn't get anything going there. 21-6. They beat the crap out of him, man. That offensive line is not very good, or at least they weren't last week. They're clamoring to get Jackson Dart in there, but
Yeah.
the Giants' schedule for the next 5 or 6 weeks is absolutely brutal. So there's no need to rush. I don't think the Giants are going anywhere this year, even if Jackson Dart plays well. But Dave, this game should really be about my Dallas Cowboys. They played well enough to beat the Eagles last Thursday, but they
So
didn't
close.
finish. And that's a trend for these Cowboys. Lots of talent, but when it's time to make that money, they haven't been able to rely on their star players. Although when I went back and looked at that CD drop, Tolbert's kind of running his route too deep. I don't think he was supposed to be there. I don't know if that flashed in the peripheral of CD, but nonetheless, you got to come up with that catch regardless of the situation. The defense in the second half for the Cowboys really good too. Shut Saquon almost completely out in the second half. I think 30 yards rushing. Where they got hurt was letting Hurts escape the pocket. The
Yeah.
ends didn't keep that integrity and keep that pinched off. Don't have to worry about that as much with Russ. It's the home opener for the Cowboys. I expect him to beat these Gigantes and get into the win column.
Yeah, definitely what the Cowboys need after a close loss to the Eagles is the Giants team that's definitely beatable.
Yeah, they got to get it done. All right, Dave. Up next, we have those Cleveland Browns at the Baltimore Ravens. Ooh, and the Ravens are 11.5 point favorites in this one. Angry Ravens.
Yeah, and that was down from 12.5 earlier in the week. I mean, this Browns team really, I thought, was pretty dang impressive how they played against Cincinnati. I think pretty much most people kind of chalked them up to a loss there. They got Flacco kind of holding on until one of the other dudes is ready to show at quarterback. But they really did put together a pretty good effort there, and almost and really probably should have, if not could have, beaten that Bengals squad last week. But you look at this Ravens team, boy, bad time for the Browns to
Ooh.
get to the Ravens after letting that thing go on Sunday Night Football, a game that they absolutely dominated. Lamar had a really high efficiency game, and obviously King Henry running amok early in that game.
Mm.
Zay Flowers put up crazy good numbers in that game, and they found a way to lose. They are going to be seething all week and ready to get back out there and right the ship. Um, they're at home. This should be a really impressive Ravens victory.
Yeah, Flacco had 2 interceptions in that game that absolutely were not his fault. Receiver, a great catchable ball, pops it up right into a Bengals hand a couple times, and then the late miss kick. So
Yeah,
the Browns will play the Ravens tough,
they will.
but those are angry Ravens.
Yes, they are. All
All
right,
right,
where
what
do we
about
head
next, Dave?
next? All right. Up next, it is the Los Angeles Rams at the Tennessee Titans. Rams on the road, favored by 5.5.
Yeah, and this is one of those Super Bowl rematches from the way back when a
Ooh, that's right.
plucky St. Louis Rams team went down there and the Titans were coming back, and then Robert
Oh,
Jones made the stopped Kevin Dyson just short. What an epic Super Bowl! But these Rams could show an appearance in this year's Super Bowl. Man, it was a grimy battle last week, very physical against the Houston Texans. The Rams get out of that one 14-9. It was tough sledding, but Matt Stafford coming back from that back injury played pretty well. Kyron Williams, they fed him a lot. Wasn't super productive, but keep hammering it, and good stuff is going to happen. But Puka Nacua, dude,
yeah.
10 for 130, came up with some big time catches in that one. And the defense for the Rams, so impressive. Kobe Bryant, Kevin Durant, their love child, baby, had a great interception to help seal that deal. So, the Rams going on the road after a physical game, cross country, could be a little trap game, but
Mhm.
I'm really into this Rams squad.
Yeah, this Ram squad is talented as long as the quarterback can stay healthy with that back issue. Playing against this Titan squad, though, that was impressive to me. I thought they were going to be in big trouble playing against the Broncos last week. They lost 20-12 in an impressive performance,
Mhm.
really, from the rookie quarterback. Yeah, the numbers don't look very good, but they were hanging in that football game all game long.
They had a
They
lead
didn't
late in that thing.
Totally. They didn't get a lot of help really from the running game. Tony Pollard with just 60 yards, a grand total of 71 rushing yards out of the running back team there. So one thing about the performance though is that defense really did a nice job against the Broncos offense. Broncos were expecting to be able to run the ball, expecting for Bo Nix to have a really awesome day. His quarterback rating was 60. He had 2
Mm.
picks and he fumbled the football. They didn't get a lot going, and the Broncos are kind of lucky to have escaped with the W there. This Titans team is definitely a more physical squad than I thought. We'll see if they can give the Rams some trouble.
All right, up next, it's an NFC North battle. The Chicago Bears at the Detroit Rock City Lions, and the Lions are 6-point favorites at home. Dave, what about these Bears?
Yeah, what about these Bears? It's, they started off looking really good. Like the Ben Johnson impact was like, wow, it looks like Caleb is really playing within the system. They came out, he was kind of hot, I don't know, was it 10 in a row or something?
Yeah, I
He
think
was
so.
hitting real good, and they had the lead, and it felt like they were in control of the football game until they weren't in control of the football game anymore, and they somehow let the Vikings get comfortable. They didn't attack and really press the issue defensively, and they weren't able to seal the deal. And so the Bears came up short in that one. Ultimately, Caleb Williams' performance was decent. It
Mhm.
started off great, and it just didn't. It didn't really kind of develop, and they did okay running the ball, but Caleb Williams was the leading rusher, and we're trying to get him away from that. Just breaking down the play, breaking down, and him taking off. But they're going to have their hands full this week against the Lions squad. Obviously, that is looking to get on track too.
Yeah, and Caleb Williams, dude, what's up with that stupid undershirt he was wearing? It looked like a hobo out there, dude. Dress the part, man. Come on, you're a pro now.
Right.
And I had the Bears and the 41 as my over. So at halftime, 10-6 or whatever, I was feeling pretty good about everything, and then got that pick six, and then that's when the chuds came. But I want to talk about these Lions, Dave. They lose both their coordinators, and you could really feel that
Yeah.
on Sunday. They didn't get into the end zone until the fourth quarter of that game. Green Bay blowed them out 27-13. Just everything looked funky with the offense there. They couldn't really get anything going. Like Goff had 31 of 39, but only for 225. But between Montgomery and Gibbs, like 45 yards rushing, something like that. So just no real offense there. I
Yeah.
think it is a matter of time before they get it going, and it's going to be rocking there in Detroit. So defense, they got smoked too by the Packers, man. There was guys just running wide open everywhere. So lots to talk about, but Dan Campbell's going to get those boys ready to kick some butt on
Yeah.
Sunday. A huge game for these guys because Bears and Lions both already have a divisional loss. One of these teams will be 0-2 and 0-2 in the North. Not a good way to start the season.
Yeah. Brutal division, no question. All right, Casey, up next. It is the Seattle Seahawks at the Pittsburgh Steelers. And the Steelers are at home favored by 3.
This is also a Super Bowl rematch from just a few
That's right.
years ago that the Steelers got in this one. But Dave, these Seahawks, man, they lose a heartbreaker 17-13 to the 49ers. They had the lead late. The Niners drove down. Incredible catch in the back of the end zone for the Niners to take the lead. Darnold leads them all the way back down there. And then Bosa comes in, strip sack,
Yep.
seals the deal. I think they were inside the 10-yard line getting ready to do those dirty Niners, and they came up just a little bit short. But Sam Darnold, only 150 passing yards. Charbonnet, when we watched him run, it seemed like he was doing stuff, but on the day,
Mhm.
only 47 yards and under 4 yards a carry with a long of only 7 yards. And
Hmm.
Kenneth Walker, dude, 10 carries for 20 yards. That is not a formula for success. They got to
Mm-mm.
figure out how to get that run game going. And, dude, Jackson Smith and Jigba, 9 for 124. He had 124 of Sam Darnold's 150 pass yards. I love feeding him, but you got to
Wow.
work some of these other guys into, and it's going to be a tough one because they got the crap, beat out of them in a physical game against the Niners. Now you're going all the way across the country to play a super physical Steelers team that is really feeling themselves after their epic win.
Yeah, no doubt. And they were in a battle. The Steelers were against the Jets and eked out that win, 34-32, I believe it was. Aaron Rodgers, though, showing the world he's got a little something left in the tank there, man. 4 touchdown passes, a quarterback rating of over 136. And they didn't get a ton from the ground game between Jalen Warren and Kenneth Gainwell. It was about 50 yards or
Ugh.
so, 57 yards there. Not a lot on the ground there. The new guy there, DK Metcalf, with a decent debut performance, but all said and done, this was kind of the Aaron Rodgers show. And on the other side, that Steelers defense obviously is something to be reckoned with, and so we'll see how they fare this week against the Seattle Seahawks team that really didn't get their offense going, except for, like you mentioned, a couple of those key dudes, Smith and Jigba in particular.
Yeah, like you said, Aaron Rodgers, man, the way back with the 4 touchdowns. Let's see if that's an anomaly or that's who Aaron Rodgers is. A year, 2 years after the Achilles, we talk about it. It takes a
How long
while
it
to heal
takes.
up, and he's
Right.
40 years old, dude. So, this is an exciting game, and that was fun to watch them last week. Okay, Dave, this one might not be so fun to watch, but we'll watch it because we're sickos, and that's what we do. It's the San Francisco 49ers at the New Orleans Saints, and right now the Niners are 3-point favorites.
Yeah, the Niners came up with a win, as we just mentioned a couple moments ago, where they were able to force that fumble late against the Seahawks and preserve the victory. They did lose Kittle in that, and there is talk that the quarterback may be banged up there. So if that's the case, They do have
Mac
a lot of
Jones,
concerns.
baby.
Mac Jones back there. They also have a pretty banged up receiving group in a general sense there that have been struggling throughout the preseason. So Niners squad here, people were looking for a big rebound. They get the W in week 1. That's the good news, but it is a banged up squad, and hopefully at least McCaffrey can stay healthy, unlike last year, which kind of tanked their season. On the other side, you got the New Orleans Saints. They came up short against the Cardinals last week in Kellen Moore's debut, as well as Brandon Staley as defensive coordinator over there, Spencer Rattler at the helm. It was a decent performance, but it just wasn't enough to get the job done. So this Saints team, they're going to be up against it this season, but they got to find a way to get a W here, and let's see if they can get one at home here against the 49ers.
Yeah, dude. Once again, a young quarterback, Spencer Rattler, in his second year, 46 pass attempts. It's too much.
It's too
Got to
many.
get the
Yeah.
run game going.
Yep. No question. All right, let's take a look at what's next. We're moving it on to the late games, Casey, and it is the Carolina Panthers at the Arizona Cardinals. Cardinals are favored by 6.5 in this one.
Yeah, dude. And down the stretch last year, I thought the Panthers were playing pretty good football, but they really had no answers last week for the Jaguars there. 2 interceptions by Bryce Young. He had kind of cleaned some of that crap up at the end of last year, but he had a bad day. Tet McMillan, the rook, he had 5 for 68. That's okay. But Chuba was such a huge part of the rush game last year. They got to get more out of him. Enrico Dowdle coming over from a Cowboys, only 3 carries for 12 yards. So I don't know if they got out of the gate slow, but they got to pick it up because the offensive production wasn't there. Defense played okay. And then those Cardinals, you just mentioned it, they beat the Saints last week. Kyler, very effective, 21 to 29, only 163 yards, but 2 touchdowns. And James Conner, he had more carries. He had 12 carries, but for only 39 yards. Trey Benson, I thought we would see more of him last year. He had 8 carries for 69 yards. Dude, I love this cat coming out of Florida State. So we might see a little bit of the passing of the torch this season, but Connor is still going to be a huge part of what this team does because he's the heartbeat. And my guy Marvin Harrison Jr., 5 for 71, and Trey McBride picking up where he left off, 6 for 61. I want to like these Cardinals, man, but they always let me down. This is a spot that you should get it done at home.
Yeah, no doubt about it. This is a game the Cardinals need to take care of business.
All right, Dave, let's talk about your favorite team, your second favorite color, all that orange, the Denver Broncos at the Indianapolis Colts, and the Broncos are 1.5 favorites on the road.
Yeah, and this Broncos squad, obviously, they get the W in week 1. Didn't look overly impressive doing it, but that doesn't matter. It's not style points here. They do get the W. They got a lot of work things to work on. Bo Nix, is he going to have a sophomore slump? Because he had a pretty nice rookie season. His quarterback rating in this game was a 60 with the 2 interceptions and the fumble. Not a fantastic performance. The combo, though, of R.J. Harvey and J.K. Dobbins was impressive. Those 2 combined for 133 yards and a score. So that's what this team wants to kind of be their identity, to be able to run the football and then pass off of that running game, off the run action there. So a lot of receivers got in on the action here in this game. They just didn't. Nick's just kind of had a little bit of a mistake-prone day. He needs to right the ship because this Colts team was pretty dang impressive last week.
Yeah, dude, they kicked the crap out of the Dolphins 33-8, dude. And how good does Dimebag Danny Jones feel, baby? 22 of 29, 272, a touchdown, no interceptions, a QBR of 115.9. He had 2 more rushing touchdowns. Jonathan Taylor, 71 rush yards. And then Michael Pittman had that big touchdown. And Tyler Warren, the rookie out of Penn State, man, he was solid, 7 for 76. But like I said, this is all about Daniel Jones, man. Got out of that dumpster fire that was the New York Giants, got around some solid coaching, solid team, and it paid dividends. Is this sustainable? I liked him coming out. I don't know if he was the 7th pick or whatever the hell it was, but I liked what I saw to him at Duke. So
Sixth.
maybe the new, scene is going to help him. But so impressed with what he did last week, and you got to be stoked for a guy who struggled that much in New York to finally get a taste of some quality play.
Yeah, he did have a cup of coffee over there in Minnesota with Kevin O'Connell too, towards the end of last
Is
season.
that helping? What are some quarterbacks hanging out with KOC?
Might be something there to be considering there. All right, where are we here, Casey?
Oh, another Super Bowl rematch, Dave. I told you we had 3 of them. This is our 3rd.
Oh boy. Okay, it is the Philadelphia Eagles at the Kansas City Chiefs in this one, and the Eagles on the road are favored by 1.
Yeah, and they had the mini bye open in the season on Thursday night. They're doing and saying all the right things about it. Jalen Hurts in the offseason reaching out to Michael Jordan, reaching out to Peyton Manning, trying to get all that, the knowledge
Mojo.
from those guys. Yeah. And as we've seen with these Eagles, it doesn't always look pretty for them, but somehow they find a way to get it done. And that's exactly what happened with these Cowboys. Jalen Carter, obviously dumb as crap, spitting on Dak, got his butt thrown out of this game. But Jalen Hurts, 19 to 23, only 152 yards and no touchdowns. How did they beat the Cowboys? Oh, yeah, because he had 14 carries for 62 yards and 2 touchdowns. Cowboys held Saquon Barkley to just 60 yards.
Wow.
But A.J. Brown, 1 grab for 8 yards. Devontae Smith, 3 for 16. How do they do it, Dave? They're the world champs. They figure a way to get it done. And when the money was on the line, they did it. That 58-yard field goal in the second half was enough to get them the win. They don't make the mistakes. They make you make the mistakes. And they're going in to an angry, winless Kansas City team. Why are the Chiefs winless, Dave? I don't know what happened.
Yeah, they came up a little bit short to my our Los Angeles
That's
Chargers
ours. Come on, Dave.
last week. This is when you want part of them. Yeah, and that was a tough game. I mean, Mahomes was incredible and magical as he always is in that game with some crazy plays, a couple of 4th down conversions in there, and it looked like the same old script where you leave the door slightly open and Patrick Mahomes and company kick it through and steal a victory. But this was a hard-fought game. It seemed like every time that that Mahomes and company sort of were clawing their way back in, the Chargers were able to get one more score to kind of push it out there. And Mahomes was really absolutely, phenomenal in his playmaking ability. They did lose Xavier Worthy on the 3rd play, I believe. And he's obviously a speedster that was coming on for them pretty nicely through last season. So he's a big part of it. They didn't have, obviously, Rice, who was in a suspension situation. Hollywood Brown was the featured guy, and he did a nice job. They got a good game out of him. Juju Smith-Schuster, and obviously Travis Kelce with a huge play that resulted in a touchdown. But overall, they weren't really all that effective running the football against the Chargers. I believe Mahomes led them with 57 yards and Pacheco just 15, Hunt just 16. So really not the running game that they're accustomed to having. And this is a Philadelphia Eagles defensive front that can definitely take the run game away from you. So they're going to have to find a way, the Chiefs are, to establish a bit more of a balance on their offensive side. In the secondary for the Chiefs, there were dudes on the Chargers running wide open all game long. We know McDuffie is a phenomenal corner, but I do think that they have some weak spots. So look for the Eagles to sort of get AJ back into form. I know he was a little underutilized last week. They didn't get it to him too many times. I would expect them to open up the passing game playbook a little bit here and see if they can steal from what the Chargers were able to do and attack that Chiefs secondary.
Yeah, I was watching the Kelsey Brothers podcast, and they said, not only for this season, but specifically against your Chargers. Worthy was supposed to be a huge part of that game plan. He
Imagine
goes out
so.
early on. We're not sure how long he's gonna be out, but that was a brutal loss for those guys, like you said, on the tail end of not having Rice. Hollywood and Kelsey got to step up, and Juju, they got to do their thing, man. They are staring down the barrel of 0-2, dude. I know that. I know. I'm sorry, Dave. I know that hurts your heart.
That'll be so disappointing.
So, Dave, what's
Uh,
better than one Monday night football game?
well,
Oh, wait, let's
yeah,
do Sunday, and then we'll get to
yeah.
Monday.
Sunday
Jumping
night
ahead of
and
myself.
two Mondays. What do you got for us, Casey?
We have the Hotlanta Falcons at the Minnesota Vikings, and the Vikings are 3.5-point favorites in this game. But Dave, tell me about them dirty birds.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Atlanta. I'll tell you what, man. Not exactly, what you would think as the best performance out the gates in week one there, but they did, as usual, give the Buccaneers a pretty good run for their money. They just came up short in the end there, 23-20. So Michael Penix,
I would
maybe.
say Baker took that game from them, Dave, but I'll talk about Baker on Monday night. Okay.
Okay, will do. I think
Yeah.
that's fair too, as well. Michael Penix just wasn't. He just needs a little more time. He needs more snaps. He needs to get more comfortable out there. They weren't really running the ball well to support him there. Under 50 yards between the two running backs, Algier and Robinson. So you're expecting more of a balanced attack there, and not so much on Penix's shoulders there. 42 passes for the rookie. Yeah, it's just a little too many, as we've mentioned a number of times tonight. Bijan was a big weapon receiving the football. So they did use him that way. And Kyle Pitts had a nice game too, as well as Drake London. But I just think they need to find a little more balance. And then there'll be something to be contended with this Viking squad.
Yeah, the Falcons were winning most of that game. Lost it in the fourth quarter. The Vikings last week, 3 crappy quarters. And then in the fourth quarter, they just lit it up, man. J.J. McCarthy stayed with it, man. I was liking just his facial expressions going into that game when he was standing in the tunnel, dude. It just looked like he had bad intentions. And at the beginning of that game, it looked like those bad intentions were for the Vikings. But cue the fourth quarter, man. Dude just came out and did what he did in college, took the game over. And this is what we need to see. First year quarterback, technically a rookie, 20 pass attempts. That's nice. You keep it in his wheelhouse, 2 TDs, 1 interception. Also had the big rushing touchdown. Let guys like Justin Jefferson do the busy work. Aaron Jones Sr., TJ Hawkinson, man. Nice distribution of the ball there. But it was really that Vikings defense that came out and shut the door on those Bears late. So it's going to be in front of all those crazy skull heads and that giant pipe there at the big Viking ship. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with these 2 young quarterbacks expected to be rising stars in the league, and they get to do their thing in prime time, which is pretty sweet. Okay, hang on. So Dave,
Yes.
what is better than one Monday night football game?
A Monday night doubleheader.
There you go, baby. Get us going.
Yeah, it's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Houston Texans in the early slot. I believe this one's 4:00 Pacific time. Texans are at home and favored by 2.5 in this one.
Yeah, dude. And if they are going to do these doubleheaders, this is the way to do it. The 4 and the 7, not stagger them 30 minutes or whatever the hell it is. So this is manageable. But I got to give it up to my guy, Baker Mayfield, baby. Comes down and gets the go-ahead touchdown late in the fourth quarter. Just a minute left in this thing. And what happens? The McLaughlin misses the extra point. So Penix leads the Falcons down there. And it must have been a coup for the Bucks because Koo missed the field goal to tie it up. But that's I think that Tampa Bay deserved to get that win, especially the way Baker Mayfield played, man, is late in that thing as well. Amika Buka, dude, this could have been a Charger, but I think he's right at home with these Bucks. He had 4 for 67, but 2 big touchdowns, man. And this is a Bucks team that has aspirations to do something to move past the second round of the playoffs. But man, this is going to be a sneaky tough game, man. I really loved what I saw out of the Texans last week against the Rams. So Baker and the boys are going to have their hands full going down to Houston.
Yeah, absolutely. This Houston's squad is pretty stout. Wasn't a great performance out of C.J. Stroud in Week 1. No touchdowns and a pick. The Nick Chubb, obviously Big Mixon out right now, so Nick Chubb, the main back there, only able to generate 60 yards rushing. Stroud himself added 32. But Stroud did do a good job getting a lot of different guys involved. But the Houston defense really kept him in this game last week against the Rams, where they did end up coming up short, 14-9. But the defense definitely keep him around. So this Houston's defense, man, the front four can really get after you. The cover guys, some of the best in the league. So, but they are going to have their hands full with that group of receivers that the Buccaneers are fielding. And like you mentioned, Egbuka, he is a polished rookie, as polished as they come. So this is going to be a fun game to watch to see if the Texans can kind of get back in a groove offensively. And obviously, if their defense can slow down Baker and the Bucs.
Baker loves those bright lights. And then, Dave, the second part of that doubleheader is our Los Angeles Chargers at the Death Roomba to take on those Las Vegas Raiders. And our Chargers are 3.5-point favorites in this one. And I know that Chargers Chief game was last Friday, but Dave, you got to be completely stoked about what you saw of the Chargers, our Chargers.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Got out to a good start and then, 10-0 lead, but that's never good enough against the Chiefs last week, and it wasn't. We had to continue to fight back the Chargers, and Justin Herbert had a phenomenal performance. 318 yards, 3 touchdowns, a quarterback rating of over 131. The running game wasn't spectacular, but it was just enough. But what I liked about the Chargers was they really passed it a lot on first down and second down, as opposed to the Greg Roman run it into the wall of defense. And I think that ultimately caught the Chiefs and Spags defensively off guard. And the Chargers receivers, I believe 8 or 10 of them were involved, really had some phenomenal plays there. Quentin Johnston with 2 touchdowns on 5 receptions. Lab McConkey and Keenan Allen seem to be uncoverable. And having both of them out there, you just have to pick which one you're going to single up on. And it's dangerous there. Tyler Conklin, the new tight end, played a nice game. 2 big catches for him. Will Dissly, another big catch. And all said and done, the offense for the Chargers really spread the ball around in such a way they can develop the running game in the future. But if Herbert's playing like that, and also Herbert using his legs a little bit more, diversifies the offense quite a bit. And I thought it was pretty fun to watch. Defensively, the Chargers have got a pretty strong defense. They were number 1 in scoring last year. And I think the front has gotten better. So we'll see if they can slow down that Raiders running game and make it a one-dimensional running, passing attack out of the Raiders next week. We'll see if they can do that.
Yeah, dude, I actually, as good as the Charger offense is, I think the defense is going to be one of the best in the league, and this will be a defensive-minded football team, even with Herbert, who is going to put up big numbers. But I love that side of the ball for them. But let's talk about these Raiders, man. It's not often that you can say the Las Vegas Raiders are 1-0. And they had a good victory. Pete Carroll, the oldest coach in the league, still spry, still likes his bubble gum. Goes on the road with Tom Brady in his pocket and goes back and beats the New England Patriots, man. And the vibes are changing for this Raiders team. Gino was efficient, 24 out of 34, almost 400 yards, a touchdown and an interception. We got to see Ashton Genty had some good blocks. Not a lot in the run game. Did get that first touchdown, though. But this team, dude, Brock Bowers, this guy is on another freaking level, man.
Yep.
Quickly becoming the best tight end in the league. I know he left that game with a banged up knee. I don't know what the status is. He said he wants to play. So the Raiders are going to need him out there. And if not, Michael Meyer, I like to say Michael Meyer, not Meyer, but he'll have to do some work. Jacoby Myers, solid dude, 8 for 97, but they're really going to need Brock Bowers. I don't know that they'll be able to get the run game going against you guys. That's going to be a big factor in this game. It is going to be crazy. It's divisional, so weird stuff happens. But the winner of this game will be 2-0 and leading the division, that competitive AFC West, no matter what. So this is a big game early on in the season for both these teams.
Yeah, we'll see also an interesting matchup I'm looking forward to. As you mentioned, Bowers is so exceptional at tight end. Derwin James is the tight end eliminator in a lot of ways for the Chargers. So we'll see if they match up together for the majority of the game and who comes out on top. Obviously, you're not going to keep Bowers from doing something, but can you limit him?
Yeah, Derwin, man, is playing some good football. If you guys haven't got a chance to check this guy out, do it. He wears number 3. He's pretty freaking good.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, baby. So many ways you can check out the football dudes. The Trend Zone, the pod you're listening to right now, available for subscription. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music.
Yeah, also subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us on Instagram and Facebook. Follow us on X at Football Dudes LA, and make sure you tag us across all social media platforms.
And while you're out there surfing the webs, go ahead and bookmark footballdudes.com. That is going to do it for this episode of the Trend Zone. We're not the suits that talk football. We're the dudes that know football. For Dave, I'm Casey, and we are out of here.